Hi, today's beautiful, cloudy, overcast day in Vancouver. And I mean it when I say that it's beautiful, because on a day like this, I feel most creative and I love sitting in my studio, home studio, and just playing with the sounds and the music and experimenting and just being creative. But today I have a special reason why I'm doing this, and that's to present to you my new book of poetry called Evening Melody. It's really not brand new, but I have never done any presentation about it. So before 1 year actually arrives after I published it, I think it's time to finally do it and show you what's in there and tell you a little bit about the process. So in spring last year, I started finalizing my writing. I finally collected all the poems, and that includes even my very first poem I wrote when I was 6 years old. I just wanted to do something really personal, something that really means a lot to me, and hopefully people who read it will find something that will connect with them and touch them in some way. It's a deeply personal project that makes me really nervous to do this. It was making me nervous to even think about publishing it after all these years of having them and working on them. And I realized actually writing poetry is the most intimate thing one can do in the creative world. But I'm happy. I'm extremely happy that I've done it, because as I said, it contains poems that I've written as a kid, poems that were written in different periods of my life while I was studying architecture, during the extremely hard times in former Yugoslavia when the sanctions were imposed against Serbian president at that time, Milosevic. And also it contains some of the poems that I've written here. It's a long span, but I think what connects it all is the mood, is the emotion, the feeling. So I hope whoever reads it will connect with it. I should say two things. I actually published the book in two versions, in Serbian and English. In English, I published it first last year in June. And it took me a long time to rewrite it and translate it and make it good enough for me quality-wise, so that I'm comfortable enough to actually publish it. So to make myself most comfortable with this, I started researching about the process, and there was obviously two options. There was the self-publishing online through Lulu and other venues, or to go with actual self-publishing company that only focuses on that. The latter is more expensive, but I still decided to go with that first for a couple of reasons. First is I wanted to learn about the process. I wanted to see what the industry has to say and is willing to do for an artist like myself. And I wanted to use all the professional tools that are available. I wanted someone to design it professionally. I wanted to have a professional editor. That was extremely important to me. So I decided to employ a company from Quebec, Canambooks. Overall, I had a great experience with them. I've learned a lot. It costed me, but I was willing to swallow that to be sure, to make sure that I have a product that I can be satisfied with. And it was very educational, actually. They were quite professional. The graphic designer was extremely efficient and helpful. Graphic design was done by Associé Libre Design, Quebec graphic design artist. And the editing was done by a published artist writer from who lives in Quebec, I believe, as well. Her name is Sujay Sokol, Sokol. As I said, the process was quite educational, quite fulfilling. I think they were professional and they were honest and straightforward, and especially the feedback from Sue was extremely helpful and gave me confidence to complete it and actually have it in their bookstore. That being said, during that process I was researching about these online options through Lulu specifically. There's many others, but Lulu is the biggest and the first one that actually started the self-publishing concept. And I decided to give it a shot because of a couple of reasons. To have this book in Canambooks library, I would have to pay a yearly fee so that it remains in the library online, where Lulu and others don't charge anything. When you have an option that literally doesn't cost you anything, of course, I mean, why not choose the other one? I believe in terms of earnings, it's very comparable, very similar what you get after the final sale. Maybe, I believe, with a professional company as Canambooks, you would probably earn a little bit more. Here is the Canambooks copy, and this is the Lulu copy. By the way, I will have all the links in the video description below, so you can check it out. As you can see, Canambooks is slightly smaller, and the quality of the prints is just very slightly very, very slightly different. So I think for the money you need to spend on Lulu, I think you get a really good product. However, I really like the quality that I got from Canambooks. These images are actually mine, because I do photography as well, as you may know. They are done in Tawasin, Centennial Beach. If you're ever around Vancouver, this is one of my favorite beaches, one of the North American beaches where you can literally, like in Hawaii, you can literally on a hot day and a high tide, you can literally just walk in the water and swim. You don't need to prepare. It's warm, it's lukewarm, it's beautiful. And from that point you can see the whole coastal mountain range that surrounds Vancouver, greater Vancouver area. It's amazing. In terms of the graphic design, I can tell you that it's done professionally, and it really looks like a real book that was published by any professional publisher out there. It has a table of content. It has chapters that are designed as separate pages with a little notes that when you actually put them together, when you read them together, they give you another short poem as well. Just another thing to mention, there is about 130 pages. There's about 110, 120 poems. After I figured out how Lulu works and how to switch the files and design that I had done by Canambooks and this graphic designer that I was working with, it took me a few days of figuring things out, but it's really a straightforward process. I would definitely recommend it. And in January, I published the book in Serbian, and I will have another video about this in Serbian. In September, I had everything ready to be published on Lulu and everywhere else online. It took 3 months of the process, because a lot of it is you have to order a proofread. They have to actually send you a proofread copy of your book. You have to review it, approve those files, or if you're not happy, you have to edit it, repost it. They have to reprint it. You have to get another proof copy, and it took me like 4 or 5 of those to finally get it, I think, acceptable. So far, I haven't found any writing mistake. It's been quite a process. It's amazing how little you can see after you read something over and over for so long. You miss so much, like sometimes the most obvious things. You miss like commas and punctuation. It's amazing. As I said, it took me like 4 or 5 proof copies to finally get it to a point where when I read it, I'm not finding many mistakes. I think there is 1 or 2 still, but it's not really a mistake. It's just a mistake. It's just a different way of how things could be written. So I left it. But other than that, I think it's pretty satisfactory. Actually, it makes me feel good, and that was important. That was important for me, for my confidence for the next project. As I mentioned, there is just slight differences in printing. The paper quality of Lulu prints is slightly lower than from Canambooks. I really like this paper that Canambook is working on. So if you have money and you want a slightly higher quality, definitely go with them or with similar companies. But really the difference is so small that I'm not sure it's worth it. But I guess you'll have to check and make your own decision. Overall, I think for the amount of resources you have to spend to publish it on Lulu or similar, it's well worth it. By the way, I published the book under my artist name, which is Rebel Bran. I've been using that name since I started doing art in Canada. My real name, which I have at the back with my picture. I don't have glasses on that picture, but that's me. And yeah, it's a few years old picture, but I think I'm still recognizable. There's a little bit about me and at the back, and with my real name, which is Branislav Vrbaski. I gave up using that, at least for my art, and even not many people are calling me Branislav anymore in Canada, because it's just way too cumbersome. So yeah, if you Google Rebel Bran, you can see, pretty much everything I do, my photography and music. And please, I hope some of you will at least go online and check those previews on Amazon. See if you like it, if it's something that clicks with you and your feelings, and if you have time, come back and send me a comment here. Tell me what you think. Tell me your opinions about the whole process and about writing, about anything. I'd be happy to read it and communicate with you. Thank you very much, and I hope you will enjoy it. Evening Melody. So for the end, as I mentioned, the day is perfect for something creative. I'd like to do something that I've never done before, to make a complete improvisation on a poem from the book. I've never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing and what I'm going to do. So let's see where it goes. The poem is called Optimistic, and wait for it. At the end it will make sense. Let's see how it goes. Pictures are furling on their own. A massive snore of deadened soldiers on the rampage called crisis. In the darkness of the room, through a narrow slit in the door, while a light beam is sliding along the ceiling. Face exhausted by sadness, with the bags of drinking under the eyes. Flooding everywhere from north to south. My train is rattling along the tracks. Freezing its wheels by the porridge of spilled dirt that leaks and leaks. And I, mesmerized by the image, love the boy from the riverside who just like that, out of pure emotion, raises his arm and waves, happy, happy. Who just like that, out of pure emotion, raises his arm and waves, happy, happy. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.